Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
The experiences of a demonologist in a creepy forest. I'll try and keep this brief, although it's a lot of information. These are my experiences from a case I've been working on in my role as a chaplain and demonologist for the Order of St. John. If you're a skeptic, this won't convince you. Also, I'm not embellishing details very well, so feel free to ask, smiley face. I'm just tired from work. Before my visit, I was given a referral by our regional chaplain. They're responsible for ministry and chaplaincy support within a large city area. Chaplains are a community-placed role, whereas pastors and ministers work in churches, and typically priests work in an abbey or monastery, in our denomination, at least. I used to be a pastor, but I'm now a chaplain in the community. I'm an area chaplain, which means I'm responsible for a handful of suburbs and any of the Order of St. John staff who work or live in these suburbs. The referral I was given was from within my area. I needed to go and check out a forest that someone had reported creepy goings-on, which included strange noises, feelings of being watched, and strange signs. The community member also reported that they always had nightmares and bad sleep after visiting the forest, but didn't put this together for a little while. It's a nice forest, small, on the edge of suburbia. It's secluded, so it's great for walking dogs. So naturally I took my dog, and I also always take a blessed Taiaha with me. First visit. On my first visit, I found some strange things and heard some strange things. I found a bird with a broken neck, next to a bag of rotting meat, opposite a small candle shrine in the forest. To me, this was a clear indicator of something human going on, although my job is to try and disprove the paranormal. But I have to admit, this immediately put me in the concerned camp. I continued to walk and found two more dead animals. One was a native eel that had its head cleanly cut off, and the other was a dead hedgehog that had sadly been bludgeoned to the point it was flat. My first assumptions were psychotic teens, homeless persons, or attempted dark magic. There are also strange markings painted on the trees and on the path. I also noted that there were no wildlife noises present, but we are in a change of seasons, so pressure drops are common at the moment. However, I performed a blessing, which includes singing, and the birds were singing by the time I finish. I took the rotting meat and threw it in the bin. Second visit. For this visit, I came back armed with a Bible, a small wooden cross, and my uniform. Blessings are often not a one-and-done resolution. You need to bless something multiple times. Blessings are one of our most misunderstood tools. They're a security blanket, not a conflict resolution. This visit is when things sunk in for me. I found large drag marks around the forest, many of which ended at the small shrine area where I had found the dead bird. This visit is also when I started to hear murmuring in the forest that was barely audible. I also started to experience large movements around me, with one inexplicable movement in a shallow stream. The stream is about 15 centimeters deep, but something splashed in it sends the water about a meter into the air. It was just strange. I also felt pressure on the back of my neck and back ribs, but this could have been anxiety-driven muscle tension. I walked through the forest, with my cross drawn, and prayed a small exorcism invocation whenever it felt appropriate just to be safe. Third visit. This was the hardest one. When I arrived, the whole forest smelled horribly of death because of all of the dead animals. I assume there are some I missed, but I certainly found more. A decapitated rat, birds, and some mice. This time I had brought my prayer book of St. Martin to consecrate the area. When I entered the forest, it sounded as though people were using the track, so I kept the dog on a lead. However, I never found anyone. The talking always seemed to be around a corner and just indistinguishable. When I began the prayer, I immediately started to vomit uncontrollably, and the sickly sweet smell of death became unbearable. But I pushed through. I also constantly heard the movement of something large in the forest. I kept praying and vomiting until I finished the consecration and the vomiting stopped. The smell of death also disappeared. I did the prayer again to be safe and did not vomit this time. Fourth and most recent visit. I returned, and the animals are either gone or decomposed, and the smell has completely gone. There were still strange noises and movements within the forest and water. We don't have large wildlife here, so the noises are strange, to say the least. But other than that, things seem to be coming right. I still felt stalked and still heard murmuring, but the activity absolutely seems to have lessened. I need to go back and pick up all the rubbish that has accumulated, bless it again, and fix the markings. Wish me luck.
Do you like listening to these stories? Do you want to hear more of them? Then click that like button, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And check the description for links to more videos and interesting stories.
Something happened in the woods that I can't explain. My childhood home was in a very rural area. So rural, in fact, that it was situated right by a forest. And I don't mean a pitiful excuse of a forest that's basically a dozen trees in between two roads. The real-ass wild. I loved exploring it, finding big bugs, a cool rock, or even animal skulls. But understandably, my mom wasn't too happy about her little girl going off into the woods by herself. My older brother would come along with me, and it didn't take long until we knew the nearby area like the back of our hand. But one day, we tried going in a new direction, and after a good 30 minutes of walking, we came across a large pond. It was our best find yet. Over the years, we had plenty of friends over, spending entire days messing around the pond. We never encountered anything strange, nothing more than the occasional deer. We thought we'd conquered the woods. During our teens, my girlfriends and I would try to enjoy summer to its fullest. As crazy as it sounds, we often made the hike to the pond and then promptly undressed for the rest of the day. Swimming naked was way more comfortable, tan lines were avoided, and overall, the vibe was very fun. Of course, we made sure none of the guys in our friend group came, though a couple of wieners bouncing around wouldn't have bothered me. My friends didn't share my opinion. Occasionally, we did get a peeping Tom or two, but they seemed like honest accidents since we never openly announced what we were going to be up to. And one day, as we were relaxing in the nude, we caught one of our male friends having an eyeful. We made him leave, no hard feelings. He didn't know we'd be there, and naked. We didn't blame him for taking a quick look. Boys will be boys. Not too long after his departure, though, we started feeling watched. Followed by a subtle but lingering smell, reminiscent of rotten eggs. Uncomfortable, two of the girls decided they wanted to leave. But upon reaching the area we'd left our clothes, they were shocked to find some of them missing. That was too far. We started screaming for the little thief, looking for him in the tree line. Nothing. As we gathered our stuff to leave, the feeling of eyes on our bodies grew stronger and stronger, like we were standing naked in the middle of a crowd. We barely said a word, like we were waiting for a branch to crack and reveal the perv's location. But then shrieks erupted from some of my friends. I quickly understood why and joined them as I felt an invisible touch, which I can't quite describe without using inappropriate terms for this sub. We picked up what we could, mainly towels to cover ourselves, and we ran away. The icy touch only vanished once we were away from the pond, but that didn't slow our pace. We finally reached my house and didn't dare speak a word of what happened to my brother and mother, too embarrassed and worried we'd be called crazy. My friends borrowed some basic clothing and left. The following day, we confronted the friend we caught watching us. I'm very good at reading body language and facial expressions. He never showed any sign of dishonesty when he detailed how he didn't stick around after being discovered. Any possibility of a rational explanation, someone we could get angry at, was gone.
Caterer at haunted wedding venue. In 2021, I took a part-time job at a corporate wedding venue in the Rockies. The venue is a beautiful old house on farm property. Picturesque mountain/farm/Victorian stuff. Chef's kiss. During my first shift, I am given a tour of the underbelly of the house where linens and laundry were stored. They had gutted the basement to make a huge laundry facility. It had lots of fabric hanging everywhere, industrial machinery, and long corridors, perfect note material. We'll come back to that area in a minute. After the tour, we went upstairs to this gorgeous Victorian mansion and started to set up the kitchen for the bridesmaids area. As we make small talk, the banquet lead stops me and says,
"Before they get here, I just want to warn you about some creepy things, if you believe in that stuff."
She continues when I tell her, "Oh hell yeah."
There are a set of twins buried on the property and they totally haunt the grounds. I live in the carriage house, and I have worked here for a few years, and I've seen a lot of stuff.
She has 3 giant dogs who are allowed to follow us on the property around until guests arrive, and she proceeds to tell me all these stories about her dogs being spooked at weird hours of the night, and the occurrences had been especially bad lately. To be honest, I thought this was playful hazing, but her serious tone was too chilling to be a joke. I asked her if I would ever have to lock up alone. She replied with no, that's why they offer to let banquet leads live on the property who aren't scared of ghosts. People quit if they have to close alone. Fast forward to post-wedding cleans up. I'm cleaning the kitchen in the old house, and my banquet lead tells me she's going to lock up the dining hall outside and BRB. I was so tired I wasn't even thinking about those ghost twins roaming around. I had let my guard down. The house was quiet, and the ambience was lovely. At around 2:30-ish I even started thinking how magical it must have been to live here, to enjoy the ambience night after night. Then out of nowhere the door from the staff kitchen to the main dining area suddenly slammed closed. I dropped what I was holding and bolted to my lead, closing the dining hall. I could see her through the window the entire time, and no one else was on the property. It was out of literal nowhere, and I was terrified. She saw the look on my face and said,
"Oh snap already?"
like she had seen this a million times. She asked me if I wanted to finish laundry instead. I shakily said okay, only because it was post-pandemic and needed money so badly. I didn't want to go back down there, but we had to finish at least getting the laundry started. Terrified and poor, I rolled to the washing machines with my big roller cart full of dirty tablecloths, and shortly after my banquet manager came down to help me load them. We started to load 2 separate machines, and out of nowhere, we hear what sounds like rustling in the rolling laundry cart behind us. Like someone was in it rolling around. The wheels were squeaking in the most unnerving way. My banquet lead turns slowly and quietly towards me and says,
"Let's leave these for tonight, I'll get up early and finish them."
I don't know how to describe the level of fear we felt at that moment. She had said it had been getting worse earlier, and in that moment this tough-as-nails manager had hit her breaking point of being scared. We had reached the apex of scary experiences this employee had seen, and on my first night. After trying to finish as much non-house related work as we could, we clocked out and tried to laugh it all off. Her dogs had been helping us feel safe after the laundry incident, but I don't know how she lived there full time. I hated every shift so much that I quit after a month. No other occurrences happened to me after that night, only because I told them I couldn't close anymore due to my day job. It was actually because of the ghost twins. Scary, scary stuff. Definitely spent some time cleansing myself after that experience.
Odd teleporting black mist humanoid on my way to work this morning. Hello everyone, I work out in the country and take back roads for the last half of my trip to work. The road I was on is about 3 to 4 miles long. My experience occurred within a distance of 1,000-ish feet on that road before ending. It was still dark at the time, 6:20 something. My car came with very bright LED headlights and fog lights, and I can see very well in the darkness as I was driving with all lights on, and I didn't want to hit a deer. On the right side of the road, Just a couple 100 feet in front of my car, I saw what looked like a human made of black mist, but it was dark, so I assumed it was someone just dressed in black. I hit my brakes to make sure I drove by them safely, but as I hit my brakes the entity disappeared and appeared a couple 100 to a few 100 feet away on the right side again. This is when I know that I was experiencing something paranormal or non-human. I almost got to it before it disappeared again. It appeared a few 100 feet away on the left side of the road. That was the last I saw of it. The best visible description I can give it is a human that is completely black, like a void, with a slight to medium haziness/cloudiness around it. I have had paranormal and other supernatural experiences at my home out in the country and throughout my life. This one did not spook me, but I have never experienced something like this aside from seeing shadow figures in my home, which my family members have also admitted to seeing frequently and in a consistent place in our home. They normally disappear into a doorway as if a spirit is just lurking around and then making their escape from view. I wasn't sure whether or not to post this to Paranormal Cryptids. I am in South Georgia, just at the border of Florida/Tallahassee, or some other subreddit, but I thought I'd start here. Has anyone experienced something similar? Are there widespread sightings like this? Is there a general consensus of what this entity or being is? Thank you in advance for listening, and for your potential advice or information.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.